in our society, a lot of people don't know each other like we have, and we don't have the social bonds we've had in the times past. But these local movements have become such an opportunity for people to connect, to come to know each other, to connect in the community, to get to know their farmers, to get to know their politicians, to get to know the business owners, and to be one of them, and to really just do business, live life, eat, work, play, raise kids, and go to school, all within local communities and local contexts. So local is really, it's a way of life, and it's really a beautiful way of life. And in fact, it's the way of life that most humans get to live in, and it's cool that we're rediscovering that.
You know, because people want fresh. They want something that's close to, you know, their home. We really don't eat food these days on a regular basis that is even related to us.
I personally like shopping local because I like to know that my food isn't traveling very far. Because if you do a lot of research on the nutrients of food and the nutrients that food carries, you'll know that a lot of the nutrients are gained into the fruit or the vegetable right before it's ripe. And when you're cooking them, or when you're picking them, you know, 10,000 miles away and shipping them, you're picking them before they're technically ripe, so you're not really getting all the nutrients anyway. I did a lot of research on like the health of food and proper nutrition and things like that, and so it's really, really good when you buy local and you're supporting locally because you're actually getting food, hopefully it's organic too, that's actually has the nutrients that we all hear that it does, like apples and things like that. So.
Right. I'm personally a big fan of going local just because I like my neighbors and I like their food.
Yeah,
I just
supporting
like to support
locally.
local
Yeah.
small businesses.
When you buy local greens that are fresh picked, they're much more robust than things that might have been packed 3 or 4 days before. They've got a lot more structure to them.
I love vegetables. I love good food. I like to see vegetables presented at their acme. And the greens will be much better if you let us pick them right before your dinner, early in the morning.
Go Local is what I consider a movement which will encourage people to think about buying from a locally owned independent store and not just automatically going to the mall and buying from a national chain.
On this 20 acres we produce fruits and vegetables, we have eggs, and it's just a bounty. It's such a reward to see what comes out of here.
We get a lot of squash from farmers in the summertime. When you buy squash that's packed and then shipped to you, it doesn't have the same depth of structure. It tends to break down a lot easier when it's cooking. Whereas when you have squash from a local farm that's just being picked, it's its structure is much firmer, it cooks up nicer, it's a lot more sweet and a lot more flavored.
Because that's the way it's done. You find the people in your area that make the food that you love, and you turn it into something you love to give to other people. So that's what it means to me.
Going local means tasting the area that you're in, and that's how food was intended to be. Way back when you didn't have a choice, you ate local, and that's how a tomato should taste, that's how a zucchini should taste. And so understanding that you're tasting the ground that you're living on and the area that surrounds you is really special as far as the dining experience goes. So being a chef and when choosing ingredients or just eating at home, for me it's just crucial. If I want to taste the air, the ground that I'm living on, I go local.
Go Local as an organization supports independent business because we're all so fractured and we all as independent business owners operate so much in a vacuum, you know, by ourselves without a lot of support. And so it's really a connection and a hub for business owners to help each other out with things that we've learned, things that we've experienced, cross-promoting and sharing customers so that we can have a stronger customer base. And, you know, the fact is that small business pays a huge portion of our tax base.
Go Local isn't about, you know, saying don't shop at the chains or don't go to the mall or, you know, boycott the boxes. It's more about making informed decisions. It doesn't say that if a business is local that you've got to shop there, but it should be your first consideration.
Quality of the product coming in, you can't beat freshness, something that was just picked hours before it actually hits the customer's plate.
Things that you get from a local product is flavor and quality and freshness. Those are the things that we associate with local.
Getting connected with Go Local is a great idea. Going local is a strong subject for a lot of small business owners, especially because we are all interconnected. I have been part of small business my whole life, and I really think that small business is what makes our communities grow. It keeps our money in our own pockets as opposed to sending it to Iowa or India or whatever,
It's important to know where your food comes from. It's important to know the people that are growing it. I think from a health standpoint, mainly because our food is coming from such a distance and such a huge level of manufacture that we're out of touch with that and we don't know what's in it. So that's from a health standpoint. From a community standpoint as well, it's economically sound, both for food distribution. Costs get smaller the closer that we are, and also it's economically sound for the businesses to work business to business.
How long are you going to guarantee me that gas is going to remain under $5 a gallon? Okay? And how good do those dollar bills taste with ketchup poured all over them? Not that great. So you need to preserve spaces like this. You need to encourage people to continue to farm because we need to be able to survive. And I don't know about you, but I'm not feeling too comfortable with just the way the economics is going and everything else. I just think it's really important that we stay close to the ground, support good soils, support people who tend those soils, and then we're all going to be able to enjoy a sustainable future.
I have this major drive to be able to be sustainable. If something went wrong in the world, I want to make sure I can still grow my food and take care of my family and take care of my community. And just one of those things, I love to nurture the animals and the plants and keep the whole ecosystem all interlinked and going.
As a business owner, Go Local has affected our purchasing, and that I've changed our purchasing for our office supplies to Chuckles office supplies. Not everything, but a good percentage of it. So I know Chuck is interested in supporting the community just as interested as I am, so I try to steer as much business as I can his way. Same with our pretzels. I'd love to lie to you and say that we bake our own pretzels, but we don't. They're made at Hastelli out in Lakewood, which, this isn't particularly local to Tacoma, but it is local to the 253, which I think is just as important. Our crab cakes, again, aren't made in-house, but I think they're called North Tacoma Fish Company or Tacoma Fish Company. They've got a place down on the waterfront as well as one out in 56th. They make our crab cakes. And so it's one thing for an end consumer to make those choices, but it's also just as important for local business owners to make those decisions as well.
We get to come here, we get to enjoy the community, enjoy one another, while you're just doing everyday things like buying food, which has been done over thousands of years, over hundreds of countries, and it's the most basic thing imaginable, but it just really speaks to the human soul, I think, and to our community soul.
Everybody has to eat, and I think the closer your food is to you, the more accountability there is as to how it's raised. The federal government regulates most of the standards that the food that is cellophane wrapped in the grocery store and anonymously presented, whereas I've picked this, planted this with my hands, and I'm standing here looking you in the eyes, and I'm responsible for any problems you have with it. Right now in Pierce County, we lose, on average, 4 acres of farmlands a week. It's important to protect it. I mean, we all are going to have grandkids, great-grandkids, and we're all going to need to eat. So this is some of the best farmland there is in the country.
Go Local as an organization is a great organization. It's Trish is amazing. Trish, she's one of my favorite people in Tacoma, and I try not to have favorites, but I mean, it's hard because Trish is awesome, and she's always doing everything, everywhere, all the time. And it's not just what she does, but it's how she does it. She really cares a lot. She puts a lot of energy and enthusiasm, positivity. She brings a lot of hope to people, I think. And I think that's fantastic. And then Sherry and the rest of the organization, and Pat and Ryan, and then all the people that are on the board, from Ryan Petty to our executive director Laura, to all the different people from, you know, Julie, Urban Exchange, different people like that. It's a really phenomenal time that we have here with such a unified front of that's represented in Go Local. And so, yeah, Go Local's organization has taken off, man. I think Go Local is really a fantastic movement across the country, but specifically this movement here in Tacoma, I think, is really unique and really special.
If someone comes shop here, I spend that money at another business across the street. So it kind of all stays in your community and makes it much better. And Go Local, that's their whole point, and that's great.
The farm fresh or farm to plate movement is a real strong going concern. You've seen it with the farmers markets, and you'll see it on the Food Network. But Charlie McManus at Primo Grill has taken that to a new degree, especially here in Tacoma, where he's, you know, that's what he focuses on. And I think that that is Charlie takes the root of, and pardon the pun, the root of Go Local and his produce, and that is just as important. It's a mindset, and that we can't get everything we want or need or desire locally produced. But if you look at the local options, I think you'll find yourself pleasantly surprised by what there is available and what the city of Tacoma has to offer, as well as the greater Puget Sound region. You know, it's I don't mean to say go to Olympia to shop, but there's some stores in Olympia that Tacoma doesn't offer, and there's stores in Federal Way that Tacoma doesn't offer. But you know that the owners of those stores are locally based. They're not that check isn't being shipped off to St. Paul, Minnesota, or somewhere in California or somewhere in Texas. It's all that dollar is staying here in our community, which is important.
You know, I just think that local business keeps our community interesting and vibrant. I've intentionally tried to take it to heart and rethink pretty much everything I purchase, services, goods. It's really, once you give it some serious thought, it's really easy to work that into your everyday life. So instead of buying my dog food from the grocery store, I buy it from a friend who has a pet food store. And in the long run, you don't save money by going to the big boxes. The shopping locally, because 68 cents of every dollar stays in your community, is huge, and I don't think people understand that part of the equation.
There's a couple of different reasons why they're important. One reason is that as sprawl takes over so much land in this area, we lose the land to asphalt and concrete. And once it goes to, like the Puyallup Valley goes to distribution plants and warehouses, it can't come back. So I think that it's important for all of us to retain as much of the local landscape as we can. Another thing is that as agriculture has become a large business, a lot of small farmers have been priced out of the market. They're not able to bring the economies to bear to compete with large corporations. So it's important for us to support small farmers because they're part of what made America great in the first place. And if these large companies take over, we won't have that terroir of the small farmers in local areas.
The thing is that you can't duplicate this soil. And that's why this project is so vital to the community, where not only is it growing great food, it's also preserving a very valuable piece of farmland. You can't duplicate this. On the scale of most valuable topsoil on the planet, it's up there in the top 10. So every little piece that we can save like this, we're all going to be very thankful that we did.
You know, food produced right here consumes a lot less fossil fuel than something that's produced in Mexico. And it's trucked up here hours, not only the fuel, but the refrigeration and all the energy package that goes with that food. And it's not as good as is what we can grow locally. It's not as flavorful. They don't grow things because they taste good. They grow things because they look good and they can be shipped. They're durable.
Go local is more than anything. Go local is building up your local community. It's focusing on where you live, on the neighborhood, the community in which you, as it were, do business. And it is interesting how very large chains want you to have that concept. Some of them even call themselves the neighborhood restaurant. They really aren't. With all due respect to them, that's an advertising gimmick. Most of those folks are not in the context of local neighborhoods, but I'm not here to criticize anyone's marketing budget or anything like that. And Go Local is, more than anything, a very proactive look at and participation in the community, the neighborhood where you live. And that's what it's all about. And it's interesting, my wife and I started our business over 30 years ago. We were at Old City Hall. We started at Old City Hall in downtown Tacoma in the late 70s, so we've been at it quite a while. And we only sell product in this store, in the Pacific Northwest shop, that is made locally, produced locally, farmed, grown locally, and we just have a great array of products from our region, from our local region, and from Puyallup Valley Jam. Carol and Bud Moon, who raised the berries out in their farm in Puyallup, in the Puyallup Valley. We have their jam. To Larry, who has Sleeping Dog Wine, a small winery over in Benton City. To salmon from the Kasiloff family up in Marysville, Washington. To Brown and Haley. Everything that's made local is what we have.
Well, Go Local is local people supporting local businesses, local producers, and it's just helping the local economy. So small shops, small businesses, small farmers, whatever kind of producers will get local help for local buyers. It's just a consciousness of helping our own economy, I think, more than anything.
You get better diversification of product. You're helping your neighbor. The money stays in the city so that the new companies can thrive and hire new people. It's just a much better benefit to the city or to the region if you buy from a locally owned independent company.
You know, number one is where you live, is your neighborhood, is your community. And so do everything possible to help that community not only to survive, but to thrive. Whether it be a small little local mom and pop run neighborhood restaurant, or a retail shop, or a little neighborhood movie theater. There aren't very many of them around.
But the more you look around and spread those dollars around, the more unique your community becomes. It's no one wants to see a strip mall full of check cashing, sun tanning teriyaki joints. They want to see the uniqueness of King's Books next to Darnell's Auto Body Shop in my neighborhood, or the Pacific Northwest shop next door to Knapp's up in the Proctor district. They want to see the quirkiness of those small independent businesses, and those small independent businesses just don't open up and stay open to be quirky and small. There's people who require paychecks and need that money to thrive and survive and to create the interesting city that we have.
Well, I think that the whole Go Local movement is important because it's keeping all of these little shops and restaurants in business. It's like a little slice of Americana. You know, it gives us personality, it gives our community personality and depth. I've always been a huge fan of Go Local, and to just kind of tap into each other's talents and support each other.
Another thing I'm really passionate about, though, is just people knowing each other. And that's the thing that really has drawn me into the local scene and trying to be connected here in Tacoma.
I think the best thing probably about owning a small business is that you get to be a part of the community. You get to see what goes on. You get to see what effect your business and the other businesses in your district have on the community. Like the biggest thing we've noticed about 6th Avenue since we've been here is that it's really driven a lot of more retail to want to come to this area. We've seen a lot of new businesses, hair, other clothing. We've seen just a big drive to really make this more of a shopping district as opposed to just being a house of records and a barbershop.
I think it's really important to just take responsibility for the place where you have opted at this moment, as I say, at this moment in your history to live. And boy, you'll feel a lot better about it.
I guess for me, the Go Local portion of it is be informed of who you're giving your money to and what you're getting in return for it. I mean, if you just want to push money across the counter and don't care what impact that dollar has somewhere, then fine, shop where, don't even think about where you shop. But if you want a better place to live and a more interesting place to live, be thoughtful about your purchase. I mean, every time you open up your wallet or every time you decide to buy something, that affects people's livelihoods. What and where and when you buy means jobs, and it means businesses can open the next day.
Half of the amazing magic here is certainly the food that comes out of here. The other half is putting together the people that make it happen.
Farmers markets are really just it's the hub of where people can come together and get out of their offices, get out of their homes, get out of the buildings and come and converge and give commerce to the people that are hopefully supporting us in the future.
Spend locally because the money that you're putting in to our personal economy helps the city's economy, so we all benefit from it.
So I believe that all, in the context of small merchants, that it's really very, very important not only to have a brick and mortar presence, but also to have an internet presence, a website presence. They are buying products made locally here that I am making sure that they get there.
The money stays within the community, which says the people can hire, the companies can thrive and hire more people, the taxes can go to the cities, and then the city will have more money to take care of the basic demands, the state will have more money to take care of the basic demands. It's just a win-win-win situation.
Okay, great. Let's see. Oh, does a blue work?
Absolutely. And one of the things that supports our interest in this is the appreciation we receive on a daily basis from our customers. You know, they say, we're so happy you're doing this, preserving this land, growing this healthy food, providing opportunity for our kids to come out and enjoy the farm, feed the chickens, and so on. It's a combination of our interest and shared interest of the public that, you know, that this is important.
I found myself on the winding roads of the California highway, on the coastal shores of the morning fog, hearts for the sky, down the road where the rivers flow, all going my way, the redwood trees, the great elk graze over the countryside. 'Cause every time I find myself winding down the 101, I wind up finding myself better than I was when I begun. Ease my mind with gentle shadows casted by the rising sun. And oh, the ocean. Well, some days one don't get the time to take the scenic highway down I-5 to San Francisco, farmland rolling on. Clouds and blue skies taking turns, blanketing the hillsides, where yellow fields are stretched across 1,000 miles long. But every time I find myself winding down the 101, I wind up finding myself better than I was when I begun. Ease my mind with gentle shadows casted by the rising sun. And oh, the ocean.
Go local. It matters.
Go local. It matters.
Go local. It matters.
Go local. It matters.